We got a question. When does the stream start? The stream starts now. That's when the stream starts. All right. So, welcome to the Graduate Show. And what we're doing here is this is the graduations. This is actually set for tomorrow. And then I think originally our intention was that we would have this set for Wednesdays. Maybe Jack hasn't fixed that yet. But in any case, the idea is that we have so many people graduating in the dojo now that I've split it into two shows. One on Wednesday, where we do the people under 1,000, and then Thursday, where we do the people over 1,000, right? So we actually featured R2RO on the Twitter feed. A lot of times we have a graduate of the day and just put whatever comment they have here. So R2, I want to say R2D2. There might be some other Star Wars character that's R2RO. But I never watched the new Star Wars. I couldn't do it, dude. In fact, even Return of the Jedi, I'm not really into it, dude. It's just the first two movies. Technically, just in they call it part 5 and whatever, but the very first two are the ones closest to my heart. So I don't know if there's an R2RO out there. Anyways, R2RO says, I never thought I would have enjoyed postmortems or having my games reviewed by someone rated higher than me. I learned quite a bit doing both. Right. And that is part of the heart of the dojo. Really cool, too, that someone who is just beginning can get to do that work. I think a lot of people have a preconception that going over your games is something, for very advanced players. No. And, I think it's not just chess. There's a variety of things in life that we can review and really benefit from, even if we are total amateurs at those things. Meg Zerker says, hey, Kraai, one quick thing. Have you got the message from DM Hoki that I'm taking on students under 1,500 ELO? I don't think I got that message, but that is cool, man. That is cool. That is cool, man, for sure. I think we have a bunch of people in the dojo who are doing work, and that is fine, dude. I should put, I wonder if you are in our coaches. Let me just ask you, are you in our coaches? Is it like we have a coaches channel somewhere? I should know where that is. Coaching, yeah, coaching. So what we could eventually do, Maggie Zerker, is put you in our coaches. We have a list of coaches that we're kind of recommending. And so we could put you in there, dude. We could definitely put you in there. Okay, so let's get to it. I'm going to follow R2RO. Nice. And R2RO, ready to graduate again. Dark Squared Sith. I knew it was a Star Wars reference, dude. Nice. Okay. So let's click around in here. Did a bunch of tactics. And as you can see, this graduation shows that R2RO is already ready to graduate again. So we might well see R2RO again next week. And you can see, dude is just flying up here. Doing, what's this non-dojo work the man's doing? He's reading some books outside the dojo, doing a lot of tactics here. Clubs? No clubs yet. Games. Oh, here we go. So really cool that that Dark Squared Sith has done this work. Let's take a look at what's going on here. Fine. Everybody is playing, honestly, close to GM level chess. And I think C6, by the way, you're going to hear me yell at a lot of people for taking too much time, using too many tempi. But C6 is a fine move because it really kind of shuts down this knight on C3. And h3, I agree with you, a little bit unnecessary. Bishop e7. Now, one thing that's important to see about time in the opening, by the way, both players are developing their pieces much better than we usually see at this cohort. But something that's just to be aware of is, think about it this way. This is an open file, and so the rooks are going to be here. So putting the bishop here really means a loss of tempo, because eventually the bishop's going to have to move again when the rook appears on e8. Fine. Ooh, that's a bad move. Why is this a bad move? Because this piece, you've already spent a tempo developing him. This piece is not developed, and so you take it, and that piece got developed for free. And bishop d3 was, as you said, correct. h6, loss of time. Castles, good. c5, loss of time. Okay, so one of the things that I want to stress, I stress it every time we do this under 1000 show, is that when you're at this level, especially your, the very first cohorts, the games will be decided on people hanging stuff. However, that doesn't mean you can't get religious about using your time, your tempo. And so, for example, here, black has the standard moves to think about would be rook e8, bishop d6, bishop somewhere, one of these squares. And c5 not only does not help any of the black pieces, but it frees this knight. Now, remember how we said c6 was actually a reasonable move, right? So, rook e1, good move. c4. Okay, is it that good? I don't know. You said, I'll back it up. By the way, you could have also played takes. That was your other option. But I'm fine with what you did. Bishop e6. g3, good move. You're playing good chess, by the way. This is good chess. And now we're in trouble. Right. So as I said, learning how to develop is something where once you pass 1000, they'll still be giving you tempi, and then we want to learn how to use that. But at this point, it's what's going to actually determine the game are things like this, tactical things. And now we're in trouble. Knight e4. Bummer. Yeah, we're in big trouble. And here, you did have another option, and that would have been to take. And here we might only lose. We might only lose. Well, it's really bad, because not only did we lose the exchange, but the pin is still there. The pin is not going anywhere. Okay, so this happens, and it's all falling apart now, isn't it? So now we're going to see if black gave you any hope. At this level, it's very common for chances to be given. Here, I think you should play c4. So this is what we call a yard sale, right? And then here, boom. Oh, that's a difficult one. Like I said, at this level, they're not going to put you away. They're not going to put you away cleanly. You will still get chances, and it's so cool that you saw it yourself. This trick of the queen being discovered, you're going to have it again and again, right? Again and again. His next name is Arturo, I guess. Nice. I heard this funny comedian was talking about R2-D2 and how in Spanish it sounds like Arturito, like Little Arthur. So maybe that's what's also going on here. So, R2R, we're going to see you next week, I think, because you're crushing it here. So we're going to go back to the news feed. Some graduations. And then Teuton. Looks like they graduated zero problemo here. Let's look. UK Adult Improver. Now, Teuton is also above their cohort, and I don't know what's going on, why they've dropped and stuff here. They might have just joined the dojo. So let's just take a look. They do have a game, activity. Well, he's done some, so basically looks like, well, let's see a second. When did they join? They joined March 14th. and they've done some work. Good. And I guess I would encourage Teuton to also graduate again, right? Chess Dads and Moms, I'm in that one. The UK Dojo, great. And now we're going to look at Teuton's game. So, all right. The computer says this is reasonable claiming space, but knight f3 is the main line. Now, something I want to stress, I say that this happens every show, so you're going to get yelled at just like everybody else. The ChessDojo Training Program is very clear that at this point you shouldn't be thinking about openings at all, and you should just be thinking about principled moves. So the principled moves here would be knight f3, bishop d3, knight c3, and a bishop somewhere. Why is f4 not a principled move? Because it's not a developing move, right? And yeah, that's why. Okay, so e6, knight f3, queen b6, bishop d3. Okay, good. By the way, the last two games, this game and the one before, I feel like both sides are developing far better than we normally see. Knight e7, okay. Castles. Knight d7, good. Good. c5. Okay. Well, black's playing a good game. D takes. Knight takes. And you're right, I was scared of bishop e2 here. I think you meant bishop e3, right? Against the 1600, I needed to see it, and I didn't. So, right, we're playing up in this game. So, bishop e3, good question. Here we're threatening knight a4. And here you do some good analysis. Now, the question, I think, is what about queen b2? And there's a lot to talk about. This one might be too much. Oh, it's gonna be hot though. It's gonna get hot. Whew, man, bishop d3. Oh my God, this is complicated. See, so our knight's hanging now. And if rook b1, I think black, no, it's still very complicated. This one's very hard to judge. Because imagine, actually this is really awesome variation here. Well, yeah, this is hot. This is full heat. But I think maybe we, I don't know, it's pretty hot, man. I guess white's winning this one. Yeah, so bishop e3, good. Also really cool to see that you are recognizing that there's a psychological thing going on with you not playing bishop e3. Yeah, so bishop e3 by all means the challenging move. And now this happens. Good move by black. And you play a3. Now, what's the controversy with a3? It's a tempo. Now, that being said, your position is already a little bit hard. I was going to say hard to handle, but that sounded like a rock song, so I'm not going to go there. Because I'm sure you played a3 to stop knight b4, which makes some sense. Now, this is a little bit, normally I wouldn't want to talk about this at this cohort, but what we have, what black has really is a beautiful French. And what we mean by that is this is a French structure and the bishop is outside the pawn chain, right? In a lot of ways, this is the dream that black aims for when white plays the advance against, Kraai, why do you have to talk about the openings, huh? It's just important to see, though, that black, you think you can feel it, though, and you probably felt it here, that black has a nice position because, you play this move and, it's not the happiest thing to do. Okay, bishop e7, and now you played rook b1. I like your b4 move better, right? Is this recorded? Yes, in general, this will be on our ChessDojoLive YouTube or on the Twitch on demand thingamabobber later on. So, rook b1, we would like to do something here, right? And it's not easy because, it's not clear how we should do it. I'll tell you what, in this position, I'm going to give a shout out for my friend Queen e2. That way we might be able to play bishop e3 at some point. Why? Because I want to develop, right? I want to develop my coconuts. And if knight b4, I'm just going to defend with rook d1. Okay, so the main thing, though, is we want to not waste time. Like a3 and rook b1 are wasting time. Now d4, maybe. I don't know if I'm so thrilled with that move from black. And you say that knight a4 is a blunder that lost the game. And let me give you my sense is that I think black was playing d4 with the thought that like knight e4, maybe he would give you double pawns or something like that. But really, this knight isn't doing much here at the moment. And d4 is going to push it somewhere where it is, right? Even knight e2 is kind of interesting. Maybe they thought they were going to do this trick, but that has its own dangers, right? That has its own dangers. Okay, so knight a4. And you're saying that you're toast here. But if you don't play b3 and you play knight e1, bishop a3, good variation, by the way, good variation. I don't think it's over. Well, maybe it is. Well, all I know is there's still questions to be asked, such as g4. Now, if he takes, we at least get to play queen g7. Who knows what's happening? And if bishop g6, we've got that move. I make no claim to knowing exactly what's going on here, but at least here, he might not know either. He might not know either. Whereas b3 really kind of hands him a lot, right? Because now he gets to mess with, now he's just murdering us without any question. Oh, brutal, brutal. Yeah, and now we are crispy critters. Okay. Well, Teuton is coming up the ranks. By the way, both of those games I really felt were higher than their cohorts, right? We're talking 0-300 and 3-400. And now Teuton is now 5-600, and if I remember correctly, is actually already 634. It's the normalized rating. So, we also had a question of bishop d3. Why bishop d3? It's a reasonable move. That bishop was strong. We could have done other things, though. All right, now we got Keith B. Let's read what Keith B says. While it may be difficult to fit in 30-minute games and then analyze them, I have found a lot of value in it. My blunders and mistakes have dropped, and my accuracy has improved greatly. The reviews from the Plus cohorts have also been very helpful in guiding me in the right direction. Beautiful. Beautiful. One cool thing that's been happening actually in the graduations that I want to encourage, actually let me move my camera just a touch here, that I want to encourage is that some people are like, oh, these people analyze my games. So they give them a shout out. And we might come up with a more formal way of like giving those people a shout out, but it's cool to have it in the graduation comments. And then we're trying to do appreciation streams where like the people above you who looked at your games, we want to be like, oh yeah, you know, somebody else should look at their games, you know. And I did that last week. It was a really cool show. So one of the things I want to stress here is that a lot of players, especially in these cohorts, might have been playing online for a while, probably playing at a fast time control. And one of the things about the Dojo Training Program that I want to stress is, even if you say to yourself, oh, I don't want to play long games, you know, I really want to play blitz, but I do want to get better. That the way to approach it is to say, look, I have to do some deep thinking, even if I want to get better at blitz. It's a little counterintuitive, but you'll be learning deeper ideas and tactics when you're doing the deep thought, that eventually you'll be able to do the deep thought quicker, and that's when your blitz will get better as well. Even if you want to be just a blitz player, you want to be able to do some deep thinking as well. All right, here we go. This is Keith, 42 years old. Nice. And 545, let's give him a follow. And I made a little bit of a mistake in the last one. I'll show you what I did. I'm supposed to mark the games as reviewed, but I've been doing this show for so many years, it's not intuitive to me yet. Okay, so look at the training plan. Oh, dude, it's crushing it, man. Looking really good. Okay, activity, great. Really good. Clubs, adult improver, nice. And then this is BK Borman. All right, let's give a look. But wait, how we got a lot of games here? Let me just see how many. 8, 1 of 8, great. And they just started, so this is really good. So this is a 1-hour classical tournament game. My opponent told me this was rare. Okay. Now, one of the cool things about what you're doing here, and I'm hoping you're doing anyway, is just playing moves that feel principled. And knight c6. By the way, all the moves that are principled will be the same moves that have names. So, for example, this one's called the Chigorin. Do you need to know that? Not right now. Right? You don't need to know that right now. The only issue about this strategically that you should understand is the drawback. It's not a bad move, but the drawback is that you're blocking this pawn from participating in the central fight. Not a terrible move, though. Bishop f4, good. Good. This is what I like to see, just principled chess. Good. You're doing fine. And here you talk about bishop e7, bishop d6, bishop b7, bishop b6. I think bishop b7 is fine. h3. Now you have a choice. I totally respect taking on f3. I think it's okay. Nothing incredibly wrong with it. So the interesting thing to note about it is that the white queen, it's questionable whether it's developed there. Is that really where the queen wants to be, for example? No, we don't know yet. So I definitely think knight b4 is a little too frisky. Maybe we call it cheap trick, and the castles would be better. And after which I think you're basically fine. So castles, a3, he sends you back, good. cd, ed, bishop d6, good. All right, now here's where he tricks you a little bit with this move. And one thing we can say is if this knight weren't in the way, we would be fine if we could just play c6. But now we have some grief, right? Good. So, yeah. So, right, it's a little bit uncomfortable with this situation, But I want to stress, you're still doing fine. Here, bishop d6 is a mistake, but like a move like queen d7 followed by rook d8 looks reasonable. Maybe h6 followed by bishop d6. You shouldn't feel too bad about this one. I feel like this is kind of an advanced tactic even. Bishop e7, okay. And then he gets our pawn. And now you talk about bishop d4. Very interesting. Okay, maybe. Maybe. Now, if that works, by the way, then white should be considering queen d5 here. This is, by the way, for this cohort to be thinking about bishop d4, bravo. I don't know if it works, but that's a hell of a move. That really is a hell of a move. E d4, knight d4, and is it true? So the first thing we'll say is queen e4 runs into rook e8. Queen h5 runs into g6, right? Here's a fun tactic. Queen h5, g6, queen e5. At first it looks like the knight is forking us, but in fact, oh, call the ambulance for you, buddy. This is a nice tactic, dude. You should be proud of this one. Good. So this was a mistake. Knight takes d5. They were so happy. And then you found this. Boom. Genius. Full compensation, I think. Yeah, I don't see any way for them to mess with you here. I have an extensive section. And my question is, how extensive is it? I don't know what you mean. An extensive section. What does that mean? Selection? Is that what you mean? So queen f5, that's a hell of a move. So let me just say, my friends, we are playing at a below 1000 cohort, and this is a tactic that, you find in fancy tactics books. Yeah. No, not only that, but look, this guy, then he finds this move. Oh, this guy's a genius. Wow. Now, maybe there's no love here, it's just everything is falling apart. Here maybe, here. Checkmate. Ah, bummer. So you had to do this. Now, queen h5, by the way, I don't know. Queen h7 making the king run looks a little bit better to me. Good. Now, I want to stress, the game's not over yet. You still have some practical chances. He is playing well. Okay, so now he has to close you out, right? Rook a e8. Boom, boom, boom. This guy's playing great. Rook b8, b4, a5. Okay, good. You're trying to get activity. Good. That might not quite be over yet. Check to the miserable king. And that was a mistake. I should have brought the rook back to b6. Well said. Now, this is technically losing, but here you have every chance of holding this thing. And what's maybe the takeaway message is that when you are in the rook ending, it's activity that you need to have yourself and prevent from your opponent. And here you can see there's nothing fun about this rook landing on c6. It wasn't just that you lost the pawn, right? It's that he's got access to the 6th rank, to the 7th pawn on c7, the whole business. Now, let's just say rook c1's a weird move, and that he should start bringing his king up, and his pawns up. Well, reasonable moves. Yeah, nothing to do here. Okay, so Keith, you're doing great, dude. You're doing great. Yeah, that's really good. I really appreciate too that, you've been here just a little bit and you've got 8 games and, your rating flying. I would say especially the people who are, just started training and they start with the dojo, you start the right way, boom. Your rating's going to go up. That's really cool to see. All right. I'm also streaming on YouTube, and I sometimes look over to see their chats over there. Okay. Al Thompson says he wasn't able to link with an active cohort. Come back, Al Thompson. It's time for you to come back, boss. It's time for you to come back. You know, I don't know when you started with our training program, but we started from raw beginnings. We had a website that was not necessarily user-friendly, right? Gets easier every day, more people, more activity, right? Okay. Okay. So, let's go back. Now we have Rory. And Rory also joined fairly recently. 609, crushing, okay. Basically just started. So I think, oh, no, I take it back. Rory's done a little bit of work here. You know, he graduated, he's moving around a little bit and is in the right cohort. So yeah, this is great, man. Oh, and he's done some stuff here. Great, man. Okay, he even did a game analysis. Clubs? No. Let's look. Oh, and I keep blowing it. Wait a second. Wait, I've been blowing it here. Hold on, I need to fix this. What I'm supposed to do, okay, after every these, I mark reviewed. And the reason this is mildly important is that sometimes people don't know that I reviewed the game. And I think what happens now, this is a new thing, that when I mark something as reviewed, they then get a little notification that says, hey, if you want to see the nasty things that Sensei Kraai said about your game, you can go check it out. All right, so here's the real Rory over here. 3 games, good start. Fine. Right, so nothing desperately wrong with d6, but it's a little passive because then this bishop is locked in. Good move. And then b3. Little weird to play b3. But I'm not going to say anything bad about it. Knight e4. And you right, I think this was a miscalculation from black. Well, maybe, but it's still pretty hot here because he gets to fork you back. And this is actually kind of a common trick. My question would be bishop e6. Now, if he takes back, we win a piece. Knight c3, check to the miserable king, and then we take. And the pawns are equal, but arguably, we're doing a little bit better. I don't know how significant it is, though. I would rather be white, though. I will put it that way. I'd rather be white. In general, I would say double question mark is when somebody really hangs a piece, right? But here he's not hanging a piece. Not that I can see anyway. Because here he just gets it back. Now, what's wrong with c6? It's not developing a piece, right? So we want black to play a move like knight c6. c6, knight d5. Okay, I like castles better. And he needed to take with the queen here, right? And the reason knight e5 was controversial is because then here bishop g2 can be played. With a situation, I mean, it's complicated. Maybe it works for him, but it's complicated. So knight e5, cd, knight e5, f6. And now I'm going to show you a trick that you will get often. So you have a knight here, and then they push you away, and then you got, bam, queen h5. And the thing to see about this trick is, well, if he goes here, we're hunting the king to his bitter end. And if they go g6, then we play knight takes g6. And unfortunately for them, we got this nice pin on this pawn. And so, boom. You will get this trick many times. I feel like I've played a lot of simuls, against people, and I feel like this trick happens a lot in simuls when I've played in simuls against people. However, you're up a pawn, looking good. Check to the queen. Okay. d4. Okay. Could have castled, right? Ooh, fancy. Now, that's a blunder, but he didn't see it. Good. This trick, by the way, too, you will see it multiple times. And one of the reasons that we are into Puzzle Rush at this level, and we're redoing it for Dojo 3.0, but this trick, for example, comes up in Puzzle Rush all the time. And it's an important trick. Yeah, it's an important trick. He misses it. Good. Weak. Why is it weak? Because the pieces need to be brought out and b6 does nothing. Good move. Now, this might feel a little advanced, but the thing that I want you to now sense is that your knight is misplaced because it doesn't have any squares. So I don't even know myself exactly what to do with it. I just know that we need to start thinking about fixing it. Okay. Good move from your opponent. CD5. Okay. And probably queen d5 is the right move, but they do this and you go for it. All right. This is fun. Now, one thing that's interesting about this to me is most beginner players will be very scared about having the two rooks versus the queen. And to tell the truth, even I'm a little bit scared. In the sense that the rooks are technically better than the queen. However, they have to coordinate. If they don't coordinate, then the queen can start a big attack against us. You go over here, h6. Okay, good move. I'm not sure what they're doing. If I was black, I would be trying to mess with you somehow, like getting a queen and knight there. Okay. Okay, he takes the pawn. g4, I'm not sure what that does. Good. Ooh, this is getting scary. Knight f4 check. This one. Boom! I bet your opponent missed that. f5. Bang! Whew, it's getting hot for me. Knight g5, mate! Okay, Rory, let me say a couple things. Let's go back to this position. The idea of annotating your games, right? Why this is really going to help you is that in a position like this, you want to really start thinking about what the right moves are. Okay? So, for example, here there's actually a lot to think about. And we want to analyze it so we get a sense of how to play this kind of position. This one, you see that it's not so easy because this knight is controlling the entry squares for your rooks. And maybe there's going to be counterplay against our king. So for example, I would, and this queen a3 might be annoying, right? So actually this position, it's still very hot. Even though I would like to believe in your rooks, it's still very hot. So like g3 would be the move that I would want to consider. Why? My king needs to get some air, and I don't want the knight ever to come in there. So all of these moves that you looked at, mistakes were being made on both sides, okay? And this is really fun and clever. And what happens? The knight, what happens in Top Gun? He left his wingman. Well, he left his wingman, and now some really spicy stuff is happening. We can't play knight e5, so this happens, and then this happens, and I guess they need to play either, probably king g6. Bam! Bam! Oh, that's nice. There's actually, when we do the Polgar mates, there's several mates that look just like this. XVU says, hey, I've looked through you guys' book recommendations and I've seen that you guys have an extensive, sorry, I read that one already. Useem says, just cleverly made some of my annotated games private, so my most interesting game is the one Jesse clicks on in tomorrow's graduation show. That is very clever. You're first on that one. Now, I'm not going to forget this time. I'm going to mark this as reviewed. We're going to say congratulations to Rory. And cool. Well, we're doing well here. Next up is Mariko, who is doing great. And let's read, I think it's a she, what she said. Moved to lead chess and graduated once my rating became non-provisional. I will hold on graduating to the next cohorts because I think my rating is still a bit overrated. I will finish some tasks in the new cohort and see how it goes. I'm trusting the process and hoping it goes better for the 76ers. Maybe from Philly. So let's click. Mariko's done a lot of work, you can see right there. I've played very few OTB games and I'm gradually starting to play versus humans online. In my day job, I am a researcher at the university in the field of AI and cybersecurity. So in a way, I understand more about machines playing games than humans. Cool. I feel a little bit of jealousy of the people in AI right now. I do. I'm like, that would be a fun, interesting thing to be involved in right now. But this boomer, I'm not 16 years old anymore. I was 16, maybe I'd be an AI person. That would be fun. Okay, so clearly Mariko has jumped over here, and yeah, they're moving up. Okay, so let's look. They could clearly graduate again. I get it. She's waiting. Training plan. She did quite a bunch. Look at that. Amazing. Yeah, really well done. So, activity. Beautiful. What's the non-dojo? Books. Okay. And mostly tactics. Oh, it looks really good. Yeah, really good. And now clubs. European, not Philly, apparently. Not Philly. Okay, games. Now let's take a look here. So, conservatively at first. Good move. Poor, right? And by the way, we had a couple games to begin this show where people were playing opponents who were generally developing well. But this is more standard of what we're going to see in the under 1,000 cohorts. We're going to see a lot of it. What is this sophistry? Indeed. Yeah. Good. And I love the way you're playing. We could do other things, of course, but it's just natural to bring out our pieces, knights before bishops. Good move. Poor. Just not developing. Perfect. C3. Again weird. E4. Again super weird. Now, I just have to confess that at this point, I try not to be a tricky player, but I would be drawn to the move knight e5 just in the hopes that I could end the game quickly with knight d3. You know, maybe they'd go and play their claw opening or whatever it is. Bam! Oh, it'd just be so satisfying to do it. So satisfying to do it. Al Thompson saying in the YouTube chat, I can't connect to a live member. All you got to do, boss, is go to the dojo. Go to scoreboard. Go to ChessDojo scoreboard, and you're in. You are in. It's not that hard. So rook e8, not a bad move. d3. Okay. Now, takes can't be bad, but I do like your pawn on e4 because it's restricting white's pieces from ever coming out again. Can be bad, though. Gotta be a good move. Gotta be a good move. Gotta be a good move. c6. Okay, we could think about c5 too. This is very solid. Good. And there is an annoying tactic here that we might want to be thinking about. And that is, it looks bizarre, but would it have been feasible for white to think about f4, our knight moves somewhere, and then to say, gotcha? Let's just say, I don't know. Probably not. In general, let's just say in general, when somebody hasn't developed their pieces, they will be punished when they try this kind of sophistry. I like, that was your word. Like knight e4, and then we're coming with queen h4, trying to mate the, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. Okay, so knight gf3, knight e4 with a nice outpost, okay. Snip. Okay. And then here you play a6 because you're trying to play c5. All right. In this position, I just want to say a couple banal things. We've kind of let them get away from the crime that they committed early in the game. And what we want to say about this position is you have the lead in development, and you have a bad bishop. Your opponent has a bad bishop. It's at this point that you should think, I think, about trying to mate. And there's a couple plans that you could do. One would be queen f6, queen e5 to start building up that way. Another one would be queen h4 and then start bringing the coconuts all the way in. It's not going to be easy for white to deal with that. When you play a6, one thing I'm not super thrilled about c5 is that this pawn will then be weak. So yes, we get the knight out of there, but not that big of a deal. Bishop takes, to me, I would take with the bishop, just because a Mexican friend of mine once told me that rooks in the center are terrible. He used the S word, but I'm not going to use that here. Yeah, and you write about bishop e4. Good. By the way, I still like black because you're going to be better as long as this bishop is still stuck here. A little weird. Queen g5, I like it. That's the spirit. Knight f3. Queen e7, fine. We could play queen h5 too. Bishop e2. Notice the bishop's not going anywhere. Bishop h5. Just intuitively, I want to do this, just to bring all my pieces in. Ooh, frisky. Frisky. All right, now we have but one question. Dearest Mariko. Dearest Mariko, we have one question. Are we winning with this move? Boom, 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 boom. All right, let's see. Instinct says yes, that we are. So how about we start with queen e6, and our intention is to play queen h6. The only, well, it's looking like crispy critters, isn't it? And they could try this move, hoping to block our bishop out with this. However, we say check to the miserable king. It's not check yet. This is when we say it. And then wherever they go, it's going to be made-o-tatoes right there. Yeah, and I think maybe you gave up on the variation here. But you are, I mean, there might be another move besides queen e6 as well, but this one looks like ye old mate. I don't know what to do for the guy. Yep, that looks really bad. So, g4, a little too frisky. A little too frisky. Now, you're still, by the way, this is I would say actually in my recollection of, starting to play chess, there was a lot of positions where this like g4 thing happened, and was it good to take? Was it not good to take? It kind of took me a little bit of time. But in general, what we can say about this particular one is if you push the bishop back and it's a terrible piece, well, that's one thing. But here, that bishop's pretty good. It's not like, you solved your problems, right? Knight d4. The problem with knight d4 is that they're moving away from the defense. Okay, so you then play queen e5, and this move has me a little worried. And what we'd have to check now is f4, back, f5. I think we're going to win this, but it's just something I would want to check. You know, it is something I need to feel good about. I need to feel good about this. So here, here, here. King f2, queen e3 mate, king h1, queen e4 check to the miserable king. King h2, at the minimum, we're going to win the queen because our beautiful discovery here. I think we have better than that too. Okay, so good. Queen e5, queen h4 also look good. Okay. Yeah. And now queen e6 happens. So let me just stress, okay, queen f6, rook b1, queen e6. And you talk about rook g4, but that, actually rook g4, that might be a winner. It's surprising, but the point is, of course, if they take back, you've got the f3 knight, and you write it. Yeah. But you say he doesn't have to, but maybe he doesn't have to take the bishop, but nota bene, that bishop's coming back. It's going to be Furioso bishop. That thing's going to be for real, right? Very nice. Very nice. So, queen e6, knight g5. Good move. Queen e5. And now this f4 thing is more annoying. So I would want to look at this and analyze it a little bit. Where imagine I go queen f6 for a second. And let's say they take this thing. And I take back. Now, this would be the move that would scare me. But then I go in. And my bishops are angry. Those are some really angry bishops. If f3, I'm going to mate. Mate. I wiggle and jiggle. And if they don't play c4 and go like rook c1, I'm still playing queen h4. Look at that. I'm in. I'm in like Flynn. So one of the things here, this is really important to see. When you play dojo style and play correct chess, right, like you've done, maybe you miss something like knight g5. But often, it's important not to be disheartened because your position has so many pluses that even if they win the rook, they're still in big trouble. And then, you know, I think queen e5, maybe you're still okay, but the f4 does worry me now. Now it does worry me. Because, let's say you went back and they took, and after bishop e4, you have full compensation, by the way, but it's not totally clear. By the way, let's say something obvious. It would be nice to go to e7 so that our queen would have access to the h4 square, right? So if we imagine queen e7, snippos, hippos, rook c1, queen h4, well, I don't know exactly what's going on, but it looks pretty tasty. You know, those bishops are angry, especially this guy. Okay, so you recaptured this way, and then they blundered. Very nice, and now he's toast. Right. f5. The bishop is just, it's so amazing. Yeah. Good. Good. Fine. Beautiful. Oh, fantastic. Let the pawns go marching in. Yeah. Very good. Very good. We're not in any kind of hurry. Easy chess. Thank you very much. We could play rook h1. Oh, this is well done. They don't resign at this level. That's okay. Yeah. Always make things easier. At this level, I'm okay with that. By the way, my just general algorithm for advancing beyond the under 1000 cohort is take your opponent's stuff, trade it down, then mate with like this. Game after game should look exactly like this. And you can, if you want to give up your queen just to make it easier, fine. Fine. As long as you feel that sense of control after you've won the material. Great. That was a really good game, Mariko. I like that one a lot. And one cool thing about it is it's your first, even if it was unwilling, it's your first experience of what we call the exchange sacrifice, where we get this dynamic where your opponent is going to steal a rook for a minor piece, but in fact, black is still better, still the one we'd rather be after this exchange sacrifice. And nota bene, the knight, the knight's the only guy kind of holding on to the king's position after white opened the kimono with g4. Okay, so, well done. I'm going to remember to mark this. All right, very well done. So, let's go back. That was Mariko. And Domo says, I've got exactly 1050 ChessCom. It didn't update yet. Right, it usually takes a day. Probably when I go in here, it will have updated by that point. Domo has graduated twice. Let's follow Domo. They joined May of last year and have done really well. Great. Yeah, looks really good. So, training plan. That's the look of it now. They've already done quite a bit over here. So, activity, and this means we probably won't see any games. They've done tactics and endings. Let's just look for a second. Some mate in twos, very good. Learn chess the right way, everything looks great. Clubs, games. Good, you're gonna see this often. Great, same reason I capture in the scanning, namely, queen is developed too early. Fine. Weird. Weird, right? Now let's talk about this. Obviously, they're giving you time and they shouldn't. But what is white doing with a3? White is feeding the ghost because they have been burned with some kind of knight b4, c2 thing before. And they're like, dude, I can't take that fear, so I'll just shed a tempo. And the dojo way is to punish them for shedding said tempo. Good. Why do they play h3? They've been burned with some kind of knight g4 thing. So our tempo is just accelerating here. Good. 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 Oh, excellent. Excellent. And now they blunder d4. By the way, something that's really important to see is that blunders are going to happen more often when they lose time because our pieces are just more active and so we can do more things, right? Boom. 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 And good point. This would be a blunder because the queen would come back and we'd say, oh, I thought I was being clever, but I was being too clever. Okay, so here we have it. Now, at a GM level game, they would shake hands and say, I've lost, I'm toast, you win. Okay, but here, this is actually going to be a key skill for us, is learning how to win from here, right? So I love this move. Great move. Great move. And you said it right. You're preventing them from castling. And this will not only prevent them from castling, but connecting the rooks and that king. Even though there's no queens on the board, the king's really in trouble. Great move. Fantastic. Okay. You say, you want to trade, buddy? I'm fine with that. Boom, boom, boom. You're playing GM level chess here. King E1, bishop E3. Very nice. Knight G3. And now you talk about rook D2, knight F5. And let's see what's your variation here. Good move. Boom. And then you say, I didn't spot that nice tactic. You know, I really want to give you a shout out here because if there's a thing that I see about lower rated, under 1,000 annotations, is they will often not have variations, but this is the kind of thing we really want to look for, right? Because it would be we want to play rook D2. And it would be really cool if we could. So bishop f4, knight h5. And now you play bishop d2. Personally, I like bishop e5, but you're doing fine. Okay. I don't know what that does. Oh, now bishop b6. Bam! You got him. Nice. Oh, you even had the cruelty to do that to him. Oh, man. Thank you. Thank you. They're just taking everything. Oh, everything is being taken. Thank you. Okay, so that's the way it should look. That's the way it should look. That's great, Domo. So one of the things I want to, two things I want to commend you on. Development leads to a tactic. It's going to happen again and again. Then you did some variations. We could do more annotations here, of course, like we should say maybe what they should play after d5 and how we feel about that position. But, you know, we're doing some good work there. And what do we got? The algorithm that we saw in Mariko's game, which is they lose something, we trade it off, and then we make, right? Okay, I'm going to mark this as viewed, and I have to take a quick potty break.
Welcome to the dojo. Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to gloat when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the crowd is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause got more follows than my boy Eric Dicey. Opinions on Magnus, Hans, and Karyakin, who cheated who, which engine that he hacking. He got blocked by Short, ignored by Dvorak, but he can't be wrong. He scored a like from Truan. He's got lightning attacks on GM blunders and gas. True, not over the board, it's only the other chat. Still his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless, he rues his inaction. Awaits satisfaction, the status of Magnus. He bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 alt accounts on every...
Mariko, thank you for being here. That's so cool when people are in the chat that are going over their games. Michael F. says, Jesse, this is the YouTube chat. This analysis is good, but the dude you're analyzing is 600. He doesn't know how to attack, and he doubly doesn't know how to calculate or analyze anything close to what you just showed. Well, Michael F., bows. It's a process. It's a process. I don't care. I don't care that he doesn't know. That's fine. That's fine. When I analyze with my coach, I'm just like getting wasted all the time too. And he's showing me some stuff, fine. That's part of it. The humility I've learned as a player is there are people that are stronger than me. And, it's going to happen. Okay. So, all right. So let's move to the next one. And I'm going to remember to, I reviewed it, great. And then we'll go back. And now we have Azod, who has done a lot of work. And let's check out Azod. Just want to get better at chess. Nice. And they've got some nice progress here. Joined late last year. Very nice. Let's see, we got any clubs? Nope. Training plan. Looking good. Actually, with a training plan, you know, I click on the training plan when I'm looking at people who haven't just graduated. There it's appropriate. But after they've just graduated, you know, it's not correct actually for me to do it because they haven't done all the stuff yet. And really what I do is I go back here and I want to see what they did to make it into this cohort. And as you can see, Azad spent a lot of time with the games and analysis, as is appropriate, right? Tactics, good. Endgames, fantastic. All right. So, games. No games, Bo. So, Azad, come on, buddy. Where's my games? Where's my games? Hold on. Let's say, oh, there's no games. No, there's no games. It's kind of weird because, why is it weird? Because when we went back, let's see, I'm just going to click in here. So he's got some blunder games. Okay, so he didn't do any annotated games. Okay. Next time, listen, next time. So, Picar's kid says, hey, Jesse, Domo here. Thanks for analysis. A bit of clarification. I've got more games in higher cohort since I've landed there after using Lead Chess Rating. Right now I'm using ChessCom Rating, so I've got demoted recently. Okay, but you know, you're up here, right? 800, 900. Okay, next up we have Damn Lie with an evil cat looking at us. And I guess this is our last graduation of the day. And then we're going to continue tomorrow. We got quite a few tomorrow. Quite a few tomorrow. So let's check out Damn Lie. We'll follow. And they've made it out of what we sometimes call Plato's Cave. And that's a cruel thing to say, Kraai. The idea was this. When I came up with the idea of Plato's Cave, it's just like when you're in the under 1,000 cohorts, the focus really needs to be not hanging stuff and taking the opponent's free pieces. That's what's going to decide the games at that level. And then after, it's still important, of course, but there's going to be other things that will actually be the decisive factors in the games. Okay, so let's take a look. Activity. And we're going to go down one. And Damn Lie, I don't know if Damn Lie's done anything. He's done some tactics. Let's see, let's click on the tactics. Then the Polgar mates in one and done like one. Did one mate in two? Okay. So I think, well, it says that Damn Lie's been here for a while. Sometimes people, you know, they join the dojo and then they go inactive for a while because life happens, but they're still there. And then, you know, they make it basically on their own without our help. And then they come in and graduate, which I think is going on here with Damn Lie. So no games. Well, okay, that'll round out our show. Would you have time for my little profile? Okay, let's go look at your little profile, and then I'll get out of here. So, user search, Wonka. Wonka 8, 11, 1200. Okay. Probably too tired for the hobby. Typically available for correspondence chess. What's going on? My phone's blowing up. Oh, this is nobody important. Okay. Okay, so, okay, let's follow Wonka 8. And that whole thing with opening book and correspondence, that's really weird to me. As somebody who's not really a correspondence player, I've never understood that. But okay, this is Elite Chess Classical. I assume that's a correspondence rating. Don't know, but we've gone up quite a bit. That's cool. let's look at the activity. And, well, you just started out, Wonka. You just started out, Bows, right? Let's see when you started here. Joined the dojo January 26th. Yeah, and you graduated one time. Actually, we could go back one and see how you did it. Yeah. So, Wonka, you're just starting out, Bows. You're just starting out. You do have some games. That's cool. What you should do, Wonka, is if you have all these games, you're not registering it. you're not writing down that you've done the games, and then it doesn't show up in your activity over here. Because clearly you've done more than 52 minutes if you've done these games. Clubs, down under dojo. Games. Yeah. I'll look at one quick little game here. So. I can't tell if this is, this is a Dojo Classical. Okay, we're wasting a little time. And there I think we're toast, right? We are crispy critters. Yep, that's how rough it can be. Oof, rough. Well, Wonka, you know, that's how we blow it. But let me just say something obvious. So Queen B6, B3, the problem is it's not a developing move. The issue, of course, is Queen B6 puts you at a little bit of a problem. And so Bishop F4 probably shouldn't be the move. You've got loads of moves here, Knight F3, E3, Knight C3, even takes. If you want to play Bishop F4, you could snip and then play Bishop F4. And then when this goes down, it's probably appropriate for you to hang a pawn. Let's give him the pawn. He wants the pawn, fine. It's not going to be that easy for them to hold on to, right? Okay, guys, I'm going to end it there. That was really fun. Tomorrow I'm going to be back, and we'll do the Graduates over 1000 show tomorrow. Well, let me raid somebody real quick. Who would it be? So many people. Let's raid our friend GM Jesse. That guy's a cool dude. So everybody. Oh, unrecognized command because I spelled raid wrong, but I can spell it right. GM Jesse. Okay, my friends, if you don't know what this is the ChessDojo Training Program. And generally, I do the graduation show for the under 1000 people on Wednesdays and the over 1000s on Thursdays. All right, everybody. Bye for now.